I think Rainspell Island is my favorite place in the whole world, said Kirsty twirling on the spot. Her best friend Rachel Walker jumped up and grabbed Kirsty's hand. They spun around in a circle until they both fell down on the grass, dizzy and happy. It was spring and the campsite meadow was filled was full of daisies and buttercups. The island always shines on Rainspell Island, Rachel said, laughing. Rainspell Island was the place where Rachel and Kirsty had first become friends, and where they began their adventures with their fairies. Now they were back again with their families for Crafts Week. All week the girls could take different classes in all sorts of art and crafts, from painting to jewelry making. On the final day there were going to be an exhibition and competition with prizes. Everyone who had participated in Crafts Week could enter whatever they had made. Rachel and Kirsty couldn't wait. Breakfast, thought Mrs. Walker. The girls raced back to the tent where the Waters were staying. Mr. and Mrs. Walker sat outside their tent, cooking egg sausages and home fries on their camp stove. "It's a beautiful morning," said Mr. Walker. "I bet your parents wish they were camping too, Kirsty." Mr. and Mrs. Tate were staying in the local bed and breakfast, but Kirsty and Rachel had decided to have a sleepover in the tent so wouldn't have to be separated. "So girls, which classes are you taking today?" said asked Mrs. Walker. It was the second day of Crafts Week, and there were lots of crafts that the girls wanted to try. "We haven't decided yet," said Rachel, sitting down on a stool and holding out her plate for some breakfast. "What do you think, Kirsty?" Kirsty smiled and held out her own plate. "There are so many to choose from. I can't make up my mind," she said. Mr. and Mrs. Walker started to talk about an exhibition they wanted to see, and Kirsty leaned closer to her best friend. "I wonder if we'll meet another fairy today," she whispered. "I hope so," Rachel replied in a low voice. "There are still 6 magic objects to find, and we don't even know where to start looking." The day before, Kayla the pottery fairy had whisked them off to Fairyland for the grand opening of the fairy's own magical crafts week. Kirsty and Rachel had met the 7 magical crafts fairy, who showed them the magic objects they used to make sure everyone had fun during arts and crafts. The girls quietly ate their breakfast, thinking about all the things that had happened in Fairyland the day before. While they were standing in the crowd of the fairy friends, King Oberon and Queen Titania had announced that they would be choosing the best crafts to decorate their Fairyland palace. But at that moment Jack Frost and his goblins had thrown paint-filled balloons into the ground, splattering the fairies with bright green paint. While everyone was distracted, Jack Frost and the goblins had stolen the magic objects from the magical crafts fairy. "I'm so glad that we managed to find Kayla's magic vase yesterday," said Kirsty quietly. "But we have to find the rest of the magic objects. Otherwise arts and crafts will be ruined in our world and in Fairyland." "Jack Frost doesn't care about that," said Rachel. "He just wants to be the best at everything. Oh, Kirsty, we have to stop him." Jack Frost had decided that he was the greatest artist ever, and he had stolen the magic objects to make sure that no one tried to be better than him. They were hidden somewhere in the human world, so Kirsty and Rachel had offered to help the magical crafts fairies find them. Kirsty squeezed Rachel's hand. "We just have to keep an eye out for the magic objects," she said. "After all, Queen Titania always says that we would wait for the magic to come to us. Suddenly, each girl felt a hand on her shoulder. Mr. Water leaned forward between them. "What did you say about magic?" he asked, raising his eyebrows. Kirsty and Rachel exchanged worried looks. How much had Mr. Water heard?